People may not know it. When you think of the Department of Justice building, we think of it as always having been here. Actually, it's the fourth Department of Justice building. When the Department of Justice was created, we actually did not have a building at that time. The first building we were in was the Freedman's Bank building, which was a building up near the White House. There was a bank on the first floor, and the Department of Justice occupied floors 2 through 5. And then in 1899, we moved into a building called the Palmer House. And the Palmer House was the private residence of a very wealthy senator named Palmer from Michigan. And when Palmer went home to Michigan, his home became the next Department of Justice building. That was the first private home in Washington to have an elevator. And we stayed in the Palmer House until when World War I broke out and the United States entered the war. In 1917, we moved into a Department of Justice building that was up on Vermont and K Street. And that's where we stayed until the Great Depression. And in the 1920s, when Calvin Coolidge and the Treasury started to lay out plans for the great national presence on the mall that we all know today as downtown Federal Washington, that's when money was approved to build a new big Department of Justice building. That is our main justice building today. So this building was started in about 1932, and the cornerstone was laid in 1933. This is a ceremonial trowel, and this trowel was used by President Herbert Hoover. Hoover came down for the cornerstone laying of the building, and the copper in this trowel and the wooden handle both come as a gift from the Secretary of the Navy back in the day. This is copper from the ship Constitution and wood from the deck of the Constitution. And then in 1934, the building opened, and when the building opened, Franklin Roosevelt came down to open the building with then Attorney General Homer Cummings. There was a big celebration in the courtyard. All kinds of dignitaries came to the event. It was very, very well attended. There were diplomats, there were cabinet officials, there were Hill officials, dignitaries from all over the Washington area and the country came for the opening of our building. But it was quite the opening in its day in 1934.